not only good in Chinese, also excellent in English, because he was educated by American missionary school when he was a young man. So he was one of the most respected Chinese scholar as well as librarian in China and United States. So he retired in 1975. That's where I come in. I become the head of a Chinese section. Later on they call Chinese and Korean section. I was assistant head from 1967 to 1975. I was assistant head of Chinese section. From 1975 until I retired at year 2004, October, I was head of a Chinese collection. I really appreciate, grateful to the Library of Congress gave me the opportunity to serve in that capacity. I really enjoy my work at Library of Congress. I would never dream another job as the head of a Chinese section. At least you work there, you do not know how interesting it is.
The Chinese collection's 1 million volumes cover all of the subjects of value to scholarship, apart from clinical medicine and agricultural technology. Works relating to these subjects are housed in the Chinese collections at the National Library of Medicine and the National Library of Agriculture. Chinese books on law are held in the Library of Congress's Far East Law Division. The works held in the Chinese collection consist of approximately 40% humanities and 40% social sciences. The remaining 20% include general works, science and technology, bibliographies, and other materials. The library also has a wealth of resources about China in English and other languages. Additionally, the collection holds a variety of formats in its general collections. Included in the library's collection are a large number of rare books. Since its first acquisition in 1869, the library has made an effort to acquire rare and special Chinese materials. To date, the Chinese collection includes approximately 2,000 rare titles. By the library's definition, rare books include those works published before the end of the Ming Dynasty in 1644. Although every book is an asset, there are several titles in the rare books collection that are especially notable. For example, the collection includes the Buddhist Invocation Sutra, the Yiqie Rulai. Printed in 975 AD, the Yiqie Rulai, also known as the Vajrasekhara Sutra, is one of the oldest Chinese printed works in the library's collection. Acquired by Arthur Hummel, the scroll was recovered from the hollow bricks of the foundation of the famous Leifeng Ta. Leifeng Ta, also known as the Thunder Peak Pagoda, is located on the banks of the West Lake. The library's most remarkable Chinese acquisition occurred shortly before the 1928 establishment of the division. The Yongle Dadian, otherwise known as the Great Encyclopedia of the Ming Emperor Yongle, is the largest and earliest encyclopedia in the history of China. Between 1403 and 1409 AD, more than 2,000 Chinese scholars wrote and compiled 2 manuscripts of the encyclopedia, each consisting of more than 11,000 volumes. Of the 2 manuscripts, one was entirely destroyed during the last days of the Ming Dynasty, and sadly, most of the other remaining manuscript was destroyed by fire during the Boxer Rebellion in 1900. In addition to the Yongle Dadian, the library also holds another major compendium of information, the Imperial Encyclopedia of China, in Chinese known as the Qinting Gujing Tushu Jicheng. Said to contain 3 to 4 times as much material as the 11th edition of the Encyclopedia Britannica, a set of the encyclopedia was presented as a gift from the Chinese government to the library in 1908. This set was produced in Beijing in 1728 AD using movable type and consists of over 5,000 volumes. Another set of the Imperial Encyclopedia of China was acquired in 1926 by Dr. Walter T. Swingle when he was commissioned to acquire books on behalf of the library. The Yiqie Rulai, Yongle Dadian, and the Imperial Encyclopedia of China are only a portion of the rare materials held in the Chinese collection. While these rare works are an excellent resource to scholars in their research, the library's collection of local histories from the Ming and Qing dynasties is another invaluable resource. By 1993, The collection held over 4,000 titles of local histories, distributed over 60,000 volumes. The special collections also contain more than 5,000 volumes published during the Sino-Japanese War between 1937 and 1945. Published in Chongqing and other major unoccupied Chinese cities, this collection is probably the largest of its type outside of Sichuan province.
At the beginning, the Library Congress from 1928 until early 40s, before Pearl Harbor. At that time, the Chinese collection was concentrating on developing Chinese classical literature. Because of World War II, many Americans, scholars, got interested in contemporary China. So that's why they then began to build up a modern Chinese collection. In fact, the U.S. government established an office called Interdepartmental Collection Development Office in Chongqing, the wartime capital of Republic of China. And Professor John K. Fairbank was assigned to that job, Director of Interdepartmental Acquisition Project. And they collect books for not only for Library of Congress, they also collect books for other U.S. government agencies during wartime in China. And in fact, after that World War II, the Library of Congress collected about more than 5,000 titles, wartime China publications, which is very unique. I think LC means Library of Congress, which is the only library in the United States has a large collection of wartime China publications. In China today, in Sichuan, Chongqing Library, they have a good collection of wartime China publications. LC, Library of Congress, has the second best, probably the best too. See, from 1940s until 1949, that was the Chinese Civil War between Communist Party and the National Party, and that even made American people more interested in the development of communist movement in China. Library of Congress collects a number of Mao Zedong's writings, communist literature from Yang'an, and that was the time they built a collection, developed Chinese communist literature. The Library of Congress continued to collect modern Chinese literature, but Korean War in 1950 changed everything. Dr. Humboldt will say, this is time for us to really develop a strong collection on contemporary China. But by that time, it's difficult for the Library of Congress to get in books from China, Korean War. So the only channel we get books from China is from Hong Kong. Hong Kong was a listening post about Communist China, PRC. So from 1950s to 1972, the sources for Chinese books were from Hong Kong primarily, and also Japan. So this is the time when I was in the Chinese section, I spent almost 80% of my time developing a Chinese collection from People's Republic of China. By 1972, I was very fortunate, also lucky, I was assigned by the State Department of Librarian Congress, asked me to go to China to develop a exchange program with China, because after President Nixon's trip, since changing, the Cold War still on, but we tried to develop a closer relations with Chinese libraries. I was one first American librarian visited China in 1972. My trip started from Hong Kong, entered China from Shenzhen. At that time, Shenzhen was a village, farmland, nothing. But I wasn't able to get into Shenzhen, and then somebody took me into Guangzhou. From Guangzhou, I went to Shanghai, and then finally Beijing. I spent about 17 days in my first trip since 1949. 23 years. I left China in 1949. I went back to China for the first time in 1972, 23 years. Everything changed. I just couldn't believe my eyes. But anyway, my purpose of the trip is to collecting Chinese publications, establish an exchange relation with the Beijing Library, the National Library of Peking. Now they call it National Library of China. I was pretty fortunate. I met a number of top librarians and scholar even during the Cultural Revolution time.